Hey guys, Zapda7 here, and welcome to the first episode of Powerscaling. Today, our character discussion is the one and only big man himself. That's right, Yamcha. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Yamcha is usually looked as a complete joke in the Dragon Ball community. And yeah, it isn't inaccurate, but remember, Dragon Ball is a very powerful verse, and even some of the weakest characters are worth looking at. Case in point, Yamcha. For those that don't know, Yamcha is a former desert bandit. He was once an enemy of Goku, but quickly reformed and became a lifelong friend and ally. Brave, boastful, and dependable, Yamcha is a very talented martial artist, and one of the most gifted humans on Earth, possessing skills and traits that allow him to fight alongside his fellow Z fighters when major threats loom. However, by the later half of Dragon Ball Z, he is largely outclassed by both his allies and their enemies, and thus retires from fighting altogether. Now, before I move on, I must say that power levels are usable as a means to determine multipliers and increases in the Saiyan and Namek sagas. Anything afterward is false, and without the official power levels we have, it'd be a much more difficult time finding a tier for certain characters. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Yamcha's power level is calculated as 177 by the scouter used by Bulma. After training at Kami's lookout for a year, his power level is 1,480. At that time, even though he's proven to be stronger than the Cybermen, he could not save himself from a suicidal Cybermen bomb attack which killed him, albeit Yamcha had his back turned and was likely caught off guard, which may have been due to his overconfidence in believing the creature to be dead. Now remember, Cybermen are just as powerful as Raditz, who casually shrugged off Piccolo. How strong is that, you ask? Well, looking at the mass of the moon, the time frame the ki blast fired, we could determine Piccolo's strength to be at absolute least small planetary and sub-relativistic, relativistic plus and planetary in the anime. For more info on that calc, check the link in the description. Speaking of which, afterwards in the other world, Yamcha trains under King Kai in the anime, joining forces with Tien and Chaozu. Together, they are shown strong enough to give a hard time to Piccolo, and in his sparring session on King Kai's planet, he defeats Raccoon, an opponent whose power level is at least 40,000 and had easily taken out Vegeta, although this was filler. After 3 years of intense training on Earth, Yamcha has presumably got stronger in the Android and Cell saga, as Android 20 thought he was Goku when he first detected his power, implying Yamcha is on the same level as Saiyan Saga Goku, since at this point Zoro thought Goku had reached his peak in the Saiyan Saga, though he was easily brought to near death in one blow by Zoro, once again likely caught off guard due to not being aware that Zoro was an android, and then is later utterly decimated by his Cell Jr. Despite all the memes, jokes, etc. about Yamcha, he's only died twice, and actually has a lot of survivability. He's gotten blasted holes through the chest, beaten time and time again, and trained under Popo. Well, less of trained and more like torture. Like Hellraiser levels of torture.
Alright, let's see how they're doing inside. So, how was it?
It was horrible.
Good. You survived the first test.
Oh, thank God!
But I have some bad news.
What?
You're going back.
What?
Bye.
Mr. Popo, where did you send them?
I'll tell you where they're not. Safe.
As a martial artist, Yamcha has plenty of techniques, like the Kamehameha or his famous Spirit Ball. Now, Yamcha has a lot of them, but most are just variations of already existing moves. If you want to know every single one, check the link in the description, since, if including the games, it would take all day to explain each and every one of them. In the end, Yamcha is definitely in the planetoid range and easily reaches levels of speed comparable to the speed of light, if not greater. Now, I based this chart off of two things, the lowballed and highballed, as you can see. Now, the highballed says that he is faster in light, FTL, but it's a typo. It should be more fittingly FTL plus. time for the comparison. How far does Yamcha get in other fictional universes? First off, Pokemon. Yeah, not the verse you expected me to pick, huh? Well, this is mainly due to all the Magikarp vs. Yamcha memes out there, and I'm not gonna lie, Magikarp is more powerful than people give him credit for, but that's a topic for another day. Plus, he still gets stomped by Yamcha. So, how far does he get? He's above Rayquaza, who has the planetary calc and scaling off of other legendaries, Kyogre and Groudon. Yes, a lowballed Yamcha could have similar strength, but he'd still speedless. So, now let's try One Punch Man. Yeah, as odd as it sounds, Yamcha kinda solos this verse. Okay, hear me out though. The strongest characters are only barely comparable to Saitama himself, and he has only displayed planetary feats as of this point in the series, the Human Monster arc. It is true that Yamcha is only slightly ahead of Saitama in speed, but still enough. Even if you give him the benefit of the doubt, skill beats raw power as shown in the Garu fight, and Yamcha has much more skill than Saitama. Now, in case I haven't started enough controversy, let's try Naruto. Yep, I'm starting all sorts of hate today. Now, there's a lot of debate in the Naruto fandom about the tiering of certain characters, so I'm gonna go with the lowest and safest estimate. Even with this, the hacks and abilities in Naruto are pretty nuts, and if Yamcha fights the whole verse, he's likely going to lose by a long shot. But in a 1v1 gauntlet style situation, he gets surprisingly far. In fact, you could argue that he could 1v1 the entire verse, but I don't know if I'd go that far, knowing the abilities and, well, fanbase. Whew, it's finally over. I've been working on a lot, so I'm sorry I don't have that much of a consistent schedule, but I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and what's to come in the future. Oh, and crossover episode 4 is indeed in the works, so don't worry, and I'll be releasing a trailer soon. So, as always, see you later.